Good evening. We're so glad that so many of you are able to join us this evening. I'm Susie Bork, and I'm the chair of the board of the Chennaya Foundation. And we're here to talk about the board meeting that's going to be held this coming January of 25. And we'll be going to Arequipa. The actual dates of the board meeting will be that Friday and Saturday, the 17th and 18th, in the lovely city of Arequipa, which is where we were back in 2020, just before the outbreak of COVID. We're going back to that same wonderful hotel square, and we'll be meeting there full time, 17 and 18 sorry, 16 and 17. And then on the 18th, we'll be heading up to Puno for several days, 3 days of visiting the communities that we've been working with. It's a select group of communities. We couldn't see all 42, though somehow David and his team managed to do that over the course of the year. But let me just say, by way of beginning, that we're going to concentrate on what's going to be happening on that trip. So folks who are thinking about joining us will have a pretty good sense of what the possibilities are, what we're hoping to see and accomplish, and what some of the associated costs and concerns that you'll want to be sure to weigh as you think about joining us. We hope very much that we'll have as many board members there as possible and as many of our loyal supporters as might be able to join us. Just to remind you, our board meetings are always open to donors who would like to come and hear about our work, whether we hold them in Peru or, excuse me, in the United States. I just say one word about the wonderful work that Mackenzie and David have been doing in putting these arrangements together. And I know you're going to be pleased with what the possibilities are. We're going to have plenty of time for questions after their presentation. So get out your notepads and make a little series of notes about questions that you'd like to ask them. We are recording this session as well, so anyone who was not able to be with us tonight will be able to send that on to them. So with no further ado, let me turn this over to Mackenzie and David with our thanks and in joyful anticipation of what you're going to tell us about.
Great.
Thank you, Susie. It's great to see everyone this evening. And like Susie mentioned, we just wanted to kind of create a space to talk through some of the logistics for this upcoming meeting. I know many of you are probably itching to have an excuse to get back to Peru, and so we love the opportunity to give you one. We also know that that entails a lot of planning on your part. I know we've been mentioning these dates for some time, but we wanted to kind of give you a more tangible idea of what our actual time together will look like. So we're going to run through, as Susie mentioned, our tentative agenda. We're going to discuss costs that are associated with that, just kind of some other logistics and things to expect. And then we will open for questions at the end. And feel free if you have a question while we're speaking. This is very, very casual. Again, you're here because you are a very loved member of the Chignaya family. So we are really excited that you're contemplating going with us, and we hope to kind of answer some of the questions you might have regarding the trip. So as Susie mentioned, we are kind of breaking up the trip into two different sections. You are invited to both, but due to just the idea of travel as well as some of kind of the altitude aspect to consider. We understand that not everyone might be able to schedule-wise as well to visit us in the second half of things, but we wanted to lay it all out there for you so you can determine personally if this is something that you would like to do. So the actual board meeting will be held on Friday the 17th and Saturday the 18th of January. And then our field visits will be held from the 19th, which will be kind of like a travel day to get to the region where we work through the 22nd. So we'll go through. David has with his team come up with a wonderful plan here we'll discuss in a minute, but those are the dates we are looking at. And so you are aware, we are going to be in two different areas of the country. So Arequipa will be where our actual board meeting will take place. And then the field visits, excuse me, of course, will be in the Puno region further south. So I'm going to, I think David got disconnected, but he's back on here. I'm going to quickly make him a co-host and he's going to kind of run through, oh, sorry, actually, I'm going to run through what the actual board meeting will look like. And then he's going to get into the details of what the visit to the communities will look like. So our agenda for the board meeting, again, this is all tentative, so please don't take this to heart that this is going to be our permanent plan. This is there's been a lot of thought that has gone into this, excuse me. So this will most likely be what will happen. Is the 17th and 18th, we will discuss something very similar to what we did this last year for those of you that were able to join us in Palm Springs or virtually. We will be able to look through kind of what the financial report for the year of 2024 was for both Prodia and Chignaya. We will discuss kind of, again, a report of what the results were for the health rotating fund and savings programs for Prodia. We will look at projects for the rotating fund that are presented to us so that we can discuss them and approve which ones will receive funding for the upcoming year, as well as look through the scholarship students for 2025. We will spend some time allowing direct board members to vote on proposals, kind of the nitty-gritty things that need to be ran through. We will also have an opportunity to hear from various task forces that have been meeting throughout the year. I know our endowment committee will have some fun updates as well as our board development crew. So that will be just kind of a general opportunity to discuss what has been accomplished throughout the year. And then we will look forward to the year ahead regarding fundraising goals, strategies, and plan for both Chignaya and Prodia. And that includes looking at our budgets as well. So it's a pretty standard agenda that we hope to go through. Again, this is tentative, but just to give you an idea of what an exciting opportunity it is to hear the inner workings. I know many of you on this call are very well versed, especially throughout the year, about what's going on, but I think it's a wonderful opportunity just to see kind of the full picture and get excited for the year ahead. So that will be the component that will be held in Arequipa. And I will pass it over to David so he can discuss what we are planning on doing for the field visits, and then we'll talk through some of those other details that we mentioned.
Yeah, thanks, Mackenzie. Good evening, everyone. It's good to see you. Hello.
Hello.
Thank you for all to join this meeting. As Mackenzie mentioned before, this is the agenda that we will be working together with the team too, and it's separated in two different sections. That's in Arequipa. The details of the meeting there and the activities that will be on the 19 and 17, 18, and then with the second part is related to the visit on to the field visit in Puno. I would like to give a brief overview of the tentative activities that we are proposing for those dates. So on the 19th, all the team we will be traveling very early from Arequipa to Puno. We will take a local a private bus, probably a van of 18 passengers maybe. So we will take the van going from Arequipa to Puno, departing about 7 in the morning, trying to arrive 7, 8 after breakfast, trying to arrive to Puno at the evening around 4, 5, and we can do a lunch stop along the way between Arequipa to Puno. So we will spend the night in Puno. We are suggesting one hotel that is a location, Terra Viva Hotel. That will be part of our presentation later, or the suggestions for lodging and food. So and the next day on the 20, that's a Monday, we will depart very early from the port of Puno to Amantani island. It will be departing around 8 in the morning, and it's a 5 hours boat trip. So we will be arriving around 1 there to Amantani Island. And then we will stay in the local host families on those communities that we are working on in the rural tourist projects. So we can have the chance to see in person the projects that have been carrying out all these years with those organizations in Amantani. And during the evening after the lunch is part of the plan. Have a general meeting with the local authorities of the different communities in Amantani. There is 10 communities in Amantani, and we are working now till this year to 6 of them. So we will have a general meeting with the authorities from these communities and the local authorities of the island, like the mayor of the local judges. So then after the meeting, everybody's going to have their dinner with their host families, and we will spend the night there. The next day, on the 21st, we will be departing very early from Amantani, but on the way to the dock, we will stop on Lampayuni community, where we implement a water project this year. So we will have the chance to see the project, to interact with the people from Lampayuni. And then we will take the boat from Amantani to Chifron, where we are working with some organization then in Chifron, and then to Escayani. That's the other part of the peninsula of the Capachica. So it's a nice place to visit, and it's very interesting because we will have the chance to visit some other organizations that are working with our network, especially in the rural tourism and the women. There is a women organization, the Artisan Women Organization in Escayani, that they do a great job. So we will have the chance to visit them too. So after those visits in Campachica, we will going into Juliaca to spend the night there. It will be an hour and a half trip, arriving to Juliaca to spend the night and have the dinner there. So we are recommending another accommodation in an hotel near downtown to Juliaca. So all that is covered. And continue with the field visit on the 22nd. We will depart early from Juliaca to Pucará. It will be an hour road trip, but during the way we will have the chance to visit some livestock local in the communities where we are working on it, so we can see the infrastructure projects of the rotating funds. Arriving to Pokhara around 10 in the morning to visit the installations of our local office in Pokhara, and then attend our annual meeting with our network that we are working. We have 48 members, 48 communities and organizations, so all the authorities or their board of directors will be attending the meeting. It is important for us to participate in the meeting because we can have the chance to let people know each other and hear from them what are the testimonies, the working with the rotating funds or being part of the program, or hearing from them their needs and what we can work in the future. So after the meeting, there is a plan to visit a local artisan association in Pucará and the local saving group that's part of our saving program too. So after all those meetings, we are ready to get back to Puno. Been on the road a 2-hour trip, arriving to Puno for have a dinner together and to close the event. So those are the proposal plans on the agenda that we have in both sides in Arequipa and in Puno. As you can see, it's an immersive experience for all of us. The chance to interact with our beneficiaries of the different projects, and of course to see the outgoing projects that are now being implemented in the field, and to see how is the situation in our communities and the impact of the different projects that we are doing in the field now. So if it's any questions or comments, please let us know.
Awesome. Thank you, David. Again, we might answer some of your questions in this upcoming bit here, but feel free to chime in at any point. I know that is a very packed agenda. We did our best to try to allow the opportunity to see a good kind of chunk of our projects. I know were some desires to see other things, but trying to put it in those amount of days was a challenge. And I think David and his team did a really good job of allowing us to get to see the variety of projects that we're working on. So some of the other details I just wanted to bring to your guys' attention, which I know a lot of you have already been to Peru or are very familiar with Peru. Some of this might be a little redundant, but I just want to make sure everyone has the same information. Because we are going in January, you can expect rain. So you can see here I have both Arequipa and Puno, just kind of what the history has been in January. So there's a higher chance of rain down in Puno than in Arequipa, but nonetheless, you should prepare for somewhere between 40 to 70 degrees. So bring those sweaters, those raincoats, those rain boots. Be prepared for some rain. Another thing to contemplate, which again, I know many of you are already aware of this, but we want to make sure everyone knows, is altitude. Arequipa is a little over 7,500 feet above sea level, and Puno is much higher at around 12,500 feet above sea level. So I personally, before I went last year, Susie was kind enough to recommend, hey, you should bring some ask your doctor to help with the altitude. So I was prescribed some things similar to Diamox to help prevent altitude sickness, kind of take it before and during, which again, that's something very personal for you to decide with your doctor, but it's definitely something that helped me while I was there. And Susie, you have your hand up. Sorry, did you want to say something?
Am I unmuted? I hope.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, good. Speaking about altitude, made me raise the question, will the team, the ProDia team, all be with us in Arequipa? Because some folks looking at that question of altitude and the rather demanding schedule ahead of us getting out to visit all those projects may wonder, well, will I get a real sense of what's going on if I don't go on the field trip, but simply come to the meeting? And I think critical there will be hearing from the ProDia team. So we're pretty confident they're all going to come, as well as perhaps some of the ProDia board members.
Yes, that is correct. The ProDia team will be there, and David and I are discussing everyone's invited. We're just discussing what our support from the Chignaya Foundation will be to encourage members of the board to come. And I think we decided, David, that community members, because we'll be able to participate on that ProDia meeting, we'll meet them specifically for the field visits. But the whole 4 of you for ProDia, as well as the board members, are invited to the meeting in Arequipa.
Will the ProDia team be on the tours is the question, I guess.
Will there be tours?
Yeah. The after meeting tours, the to
Yeah.
Amantani, and then later any part of the Puno tours.
David, do you want to speak to that?
Sorry, the question is if we will be together on the.
Which Prodia members of the team, if everyone will be able to accompany us to the field visits?
Okay. Part of the days will be all together, but especially in the preparation for the annual meeting in Pucará, then we will be split. Yeah, but in Amantani we will be together.
Perfect. And I know depending on kind of what project we're visiting, I imagine certain members of the team will join us, like Rosemary will be
Sure.
there for a savings group,
Yes. Yes.
etc. Okay,
Mhm.
perfect. Oops, sorry. Let me go back here. Okay. So something else that we just wanted to put out there was that we can't assume, as the Chignaya Foundation, any risks while traveling. So it's really important for you to contemplate purchasing some sort of travel insurance coverage. I know there's several companies out there that offer pretty affordable coverage specifically for travel. If that's something that's of interest and you'd like some help there, we can suggest a few, but we can't assume any of the responsibility while traveling. And then please just be aware that although we're presenting these plans, things might change as conditions warrant. I know you're all very aware of kind of the protests that went on last year, although that's not something we're anticipating. That's a possibility. And so that's something we'll be sure to keep on our radar as we're making plans. I also want to mention some of you might have seen that Peru's suffering from some intense fires right now, and thankfully that's not affecting the region where we are working, but that's something we'll also monitor. Obviously, January several months from now, so I hope no one is suffering from that by that point in time. But these are just kind of items that we'll keep on our radar, and we'll make sure to keep you abreast of any changes that we might need to make. All right. We also just wanted to show you kind of what lodging would look like. Again, I know many of you have traveled to these places and probably have stayed in different hotels, but we wanted to offer some options so that we can all be together and make sure that you're aware of kind of the what the accommodations will look like. So our board meeting on that 17th and 18th will be held at Casa Andina, which I believe you guys have utilized in the past. So many of you are probably aware with the hotel. But that's also somewhere where we've asked to block off some rooms for us. So we've secured a price of 104 US dollars per night. So here's an idea of what a room would look like. You'll have access to a private bathroom and shower. And then, as David mentioned in the agenda, we will be visiting Puno. So he has gone ahead and spoken with Tierra Viva. So depending on how many folks will be in your room, the price will vary anywhere between 58 to 66 US dollars per night. And you will have access to a private bathroom and shower as well. I think personally for me, the highlight is staying on a Montini. I was able to visit last year when I went, and what's so cool about these places is that these are community leaders and members who have received funding from us to be able to create this lodging for tourists. So this is an actual picture I took of my room when I was on a Montini. They have beautiful cantuta flowers painted on the ceiling. Look at that view of the lake. You can see it there in the background. So it's absolutely beautiful. So we want to support them in their tourism endeavors. So we're estimating paying around 21 US dollars per night. This is a little bit different scenario in the sense that they have a shared bathroom and shower. I also want you to be aware that I think it's around 9 p.m., maybe a little bit later, that the power grid on the island goes completely off, which might sound scary, but it makes for some beautiful viewing of the stars. So it will be, kind of a little bit more of a rural immersive experience. And then in Juliaca, as David mentioned, we will be staying in a hotel called Don Carlos. You'll be spending around $40 per night, and you'll have access to a private bathroom and shower. So just to kind of give you an idea of what accommodations would look like. And I'm sure many of you are curious kind of what some of the prices will entail. I just wanted to kind of put this phrase or this statement that we have on our website just to kind of remind everybody of something we're very proud of, is that we want to make sure that the majority of the funding that comes in goes directly to our projects. So I wanted to remind everyone that this is explicitly something I took from the website word for word. Members of the board of directors of the foundation are all volunteers who pay their expenses to attend board meetings and when working on projects in Peru. So that is something that, although we would love to be able to foot everyone's bill to Peru, we're also very proud to say that we take all of that wonderful support that we get and turn it right back into the projects that we do on the ground. So that means that we are looking at kind of, again, those two different components of the trip, not only the board meeting, but also the field visit. So I'm going to break it out if in case you're only able or wanting to go to one component or the other, and then what it would cost in total. So right now, the numbers on the screen are specifically for the stay in Arequipa. So we recommend that you get there at the very latest Thursday, the day before the meeting, because we'll start first thing 8 a.m. Friday morning. So you're welcome if you'd like to come and get acclimated with a few more days before the meeting. I know most likely David, myself, and some of the members of the ProDia team will probably be there the Monday before the meeting to prepare. So you're welcome to reserve earlier, but the minimum we'd recommend is 3 nights at Casa Andina. So we're looking around $312. Transport, because the meetings are at the hotel where we recommend staying, you won't need to get around the city. So you'll just need to contemplate your flight to and from Arequipa, which I know many of you have access to airports that most likely have some direct flights to Lima. Others of you might have to go through probably somewhere in the south and then of the US before you fly to Lima. And then there are, I believe, 3 airlines that within Peru, LATAM, Sky, and I can't remember the other one off the top of my head, but that offer in-country flights from Lima to Arequipa. So again, I know many of you are well versed and probably, I know some of you have actually booked your flights, but if you want kind of help picking a flight or want any kind of feedback on that, we can do that for you, but you will be responsible for actually booking that flight for yourself. And then meals, we will be covering some kind of breakfast, lunch situations for the actual meetings, but there will be plenty of opportunities to taste the local cuisine out and about. So we're anticipating for those 3 days around $100. And then, of course, kind of just other spending money, whether you're going to a museum, souvenirs, what have you, around $25. We're estimating around $400 to $450 for those 3 days in Arequipa, plus your round trip flight to Peru. So that is specifically for the time in Arequipa. That's our estimate. And then as for the component for the field trips, we are anticipating around $180 for lodging, around $70 for transport. You saw David mentioned, we'll be taking vans, we'll be taking boats. So we have come up with around $70 for that, plus the flight to and from Arequipa. This amount also includes the actual kind of big trip from Arequipa down to Puno. Meals we're anticipating around $150. And then again, just kind of contemplating another extra $25 of spending money. So we're talking about around $425. So if you put all that together, we're anticipating around $800 to $900 plus your flight to and from Peru. Obviously, people's spending may differ when you're out having meals, or if you really want to come back with a lot of souvenirs, but this is kind of the minimum amount that we anticipate you will need to join us. We also wanted to mention, there's obviously lots of other beautiful sites around the country. Again, I'm sure many of you have seen plenty of these places, but you might want to make the most of your trip and see other places. We highly encourage that. I'm sure plenty of us can recommend some things to see. But we wanted to mention that we won't be responsible for coordinating that. Again, we're happy to kind of help you think through things. But David was kind enough to recommend a local travel agency called Sacred Lake Tours. And I believe they go all throughout the country, but mainly focused on the southern region, if I'm not mistaken. So I have their information if you'd like to speak with them directly. But yes, we highly encourage you, if you want to see some other sites, feel free. So before we kind of get into confirming and talking through what that looks like, does anybody have any questions about logistics, about budget, about any of the things presented, or maybe there's something we haven't touched on that you think is important we speak through?
Can you hear me? I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead, Chris.
It seems like we're going to be moving from one place to stay to another. And so what are you recommending for us for taking the things we need, just like our suitcases and stuff like that? I can't imagine. Are we going to get those all the way out and back? I mean, do we have to have smaller amounts? And if we have to, where do we keep our,
Yeah,
where do
that's
yeah, I don't know.
That's a really good point. And something, to be honest, I hadn't fully thought through. I know that when I traveled, I tried to keep things as light as possible, but I did bring kind of a smaller bag to go do some easier things. But David, do you have any kind of suggestions? I mean, one possibility is maybe we could rent a room, like I'll chip in and rent a room in Arequipa, for example, if you are going to go back to Arequipa before leaving the country, and we could leave a bunch of bags there and bring just smaller bags. But I'm always a fan of packing as light as possible, but understand that that's not always possible. So do you have any ideas, David? I mean, we could also use the office once we get down to Pucará, but that won't be until later on. What are your suggestions there, David?
Yeah, thanks for the question. I think it's something that we can do. We can think about it. If in Arequipa there is some space, maybe Uber can help us, or in the hotel. But in Puno, I think in Puno there is Dr. Ricardo, or we can manage maybe to bring to Juliaca. So all the way the trip from Amantani and the way back to Juliaca, there is not just with the necessary maybe a small backpack instead of carrying all the stuff. Yes, something that we can work and have a place where all those suitcases or backpacks can stay and be safe. Yeah,
that would be great.
consider. Yeah, don't worry, we will consider that.
I think something else regarding luggage to consider as well is that because we will be, once we go down to the Puno region, we'll be traveling on different things. It would be just to keep in mind that your items will probably be on top of a van or what have you. So just don't bring something that you don't want to necessarily get dirty, or that you don't feel comfortable putting up on top of a van. Definitely obviously laptops or what have you that you have with you, make sure that you can have a smaller bag to bring that type of stuff with you as well.
Small is hard.
I know. It isn't always the easiest, huh? Especially when, like, I tell you, you need to bring sweaters, you need to bring rainbow. How can I pack lightly with that? But
well, if David has some solution to what we can leave when we go off to Montagny and ship forward to where we're going to, I guess it's Juliaca the next night, that would be a big help. So that we're taking a minimum to a Montagny.
Yeah, we
Go ahead, David.
Yes, I mentioned that we can work on that, so don't worry. Yeah, we will have some place. Don't worry.
We can find
Yeah.
some sort of storage place, I'm sure. Yeah. That's a
Yeah.
good point, Chris. Thanks for bringing it up.
Yeah, okay.
Anybody else have any other questions?
Mackenzie, can I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead, Judy.
Are you making the arrangements for Casa Andina?
Yes, so that's something that I wanted to let you all know that we do need to know numbers by around October 15th as kind of the hard date we're setting so that I can coordinate with Casa Andina as well as for the places we mentioned in Puno.
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm. So I guess we'll just dive into kind of some of the other things that I would like to have details regarding. It's really important as well to know, if you're going to come, which we'd love to have you there, we'd like to know for which components of the trip you're going to visit. If you can only attend the meeting, that's totally understandable and that's great. We'd love to have you. If you want to attend both, that's also wonderful. We just need to know how many rooms to reserve, etc., things like that. So if you could let me know which component of the meeting you'd like to attend, as well as how many guests you'll have kind of in your party or your preferred type of room. So if you're traveling with a significant other or a friend or relative or who have you, how many people per room, and then kind of the bed situation if you need two separate beds, one bed, etc. As well as any food restrictions. It'd be really important to know so that we can kind of coordinate. If anybody has any allergies, we want to make sure we're aware of that. And any other health concerns or important information that you think we should know. If you can, once you decide if you'd like to attend, if you can send that to me in an email, that would be really helpful. Just because I do want to be able to make all of those reservations for you.
There's no elections while we're there, are there? It was a total disaster the last time we were there and trying to leave.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know, David, that's not election time, is it?
No, election time. Yeah.
Thankfully.
Okay, good.
one other thought here is we should calculate the cost of transfers for people flying into the airport and into Arequipa. There'll be a cost of getting to the airport
Yes.
right down to the central city. The other suggestion is that flying into Arequipa during the rainy season, try to make your reservations in the morning.
Okay.
It'd be cloudy. I thought Casa Andina had they had a shuttle van from the airport to the hotel, if I remember correctly.
Well, let's check on that. The last
Okay.
time
I will.
I went, they didn't have it. So let's, it may have changed.
If we don't have a shuttle available, we'll work on kind of coordinating with a driver that you could pay directly for that transport. But yeah, we'll make sure that you have access to that once you get to Arequipa.
Okay.
Perfect. Any other thoughts or questions? And if anybody right now says, yeah, I want to go, wants to share that information with me, feel free. But yeah, it'd be helpful to have it in an email as well, just to make sure I have it all together. One other thing I wanted to mention was that we are in the process of sharing our yearbook that we've put together this year. So you'll be hearing from us. I didn't want to overwhelm everybody with too much information at once. So we'll be sending that out later. Some of you will be, well, actually, I think all of you that are on this call will be receiving, well, I shouldn't promise that. Some will be receiving a physical copy. If you're very particular about wanting a physical copy, let me know. But we also have the digital copy that we'll be kind of sending out to the masses. And that is something that you should be looking looking forward to. I know David has kind of a little update regarding the scholarship program. And then for more updates about what is going on the ground, we do have another upcoming board meeting virtually before this in-person visit to Peru, which that will be on October 24th. So I will send out an invite for that as well. But if you want to mark that on your calendars, feel free. But that will be an opportunity to kind of hear more about the projects that are going on and hopefully get you even more excited to see them in Peru. But David, did you want to kind of share that brief little update about the scholarship program and the Moso Chari projects?
Yes, sure. Thank you, Mackenzie. Yeah, well, there is some exciting news, recent news about that happened in the last few days. We are starting with our volunteer program with the UNA University. Now they choose 17 students that be working on for the next 2 months on the field, especially with the new communities and organizations that they are ready to work with us with presenting a project. And then other exciting news is that we are starting a collaboration with CARE Peru, CARE organization. They are interested in collaborate with us for the next 3 years, specific in our saving program. So we are so happy that we are starting this relationship with CARE people. So we will have more exciting about this collaboration in the future. And we are working with the team in the calls, the upcoming calls for new projects and for the scholarship program for the 2025 will be opening on the October the 1st and going till end of the year. So yeah, those are some exciting news. And of course, before we conclude, I would like to bring your attention in some recent events related to the wildfires. That is a great concern now in the country. The several wildfires have broken across the country, especially in the south and center area of Peru, and in the jungle too, impacting those rural areas. So these fires have been destroying homes, crops, and natural habitats for the animals in their wild. So those are catching the attention of the people and some organizations in Peru, but not from the government, unfortunately. But we hope that this situation change, and of course, it's always important the prevention and working prevention in the communities. So thank you again for your interest and for considering to join us in this meaningful journey that we explained in Arequipa and in Puno. I'm confident that this experience will leave you an impact in all of us. So we will be waiting for your confirmation, and we hope that we can see each other in next January here in Peru. Thank you.
Okay,
Thanks,
thank
David.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mackenzie and David.
Thank
That was
you.
really terrific. Could we see that slide of the room choices again? I thought that
Yes.
was interesting.
Let me go back here. There we go.
Nice.
Ah, nice room.
That. It's
Oh.
nice. You have that in
I think you guys will really enjoy the that view of the lake. I still think about that place.
Oh,
Yeah. Yes,
That's
Andy.
Oops, sorry.
really cool.
yeah.
Hold on,
Can I ask a question, Mackenzie?
Go ahead.
You mentioned we'll be in Puno on the 22nd for
Mhm.
that night, and then the 23rd return to Lima. Is the plan to go back to Arequipa and then fly back again? I mean, is that what you all are thinking?
So I think it's kind of up to you depending on what you want to do. I guess I should have put kind of wherever your travels might take you next. So if it's easier to do a to and from trip, round trip to and from Lima to Arequipa, then yes, you can return to Arequipa and then back to Lima. or it might make sense to, if you'd like to just go directly back home instead of somewhere else in the country, you could probably leave. What would that look like, David, leaving from Puno? Would the closest?
Can you go to Lima?
You'd have to
Yeah,
go
I
to Juliaca in any case, right?
From
yes,
Go to Juliaca.
I will recommend take a flight from Juliaca to Lima.
Juliaca. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it will take another 6 hours back from Puno to Arequipa,
Right.
trying to get your flight from Arequipa to Lima. Yeah.
But we end in Puno. So if we want to go to Bolivia, we go to Bolivia from Puno, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Okay. All right.
Yeah, and I flew LATAM when I was there from to and from Lima to Juliaca. That flight was wonderful. Yeah.
Good flight. Yeah.
Juliacas.
Okay.
Okay.
Happy with this.
Any other questions?
I was going to say I like the idea of a little side trip to Bolivia afterwards, so happy to discuss.
Yeah. We're close.
Exactly, so close you can taste it.
Yeah. Throw a rock and yeah.
Walk across the line. Mm.
Liz is mentioning you'll need visas for Bolivia,
Yeah.
which I think
But we don't need them for Peru.
not for Peru, no.
Yeah.
And if some of you have been to Bolivia, I think that they last 10 years. So it should be good. Thank you, Abby, for sharing that too. I think it's around 160 US bucks for a visa.
Wow.
And you still need yellow fever in Peru, right? Vaccination. Mine's run out. So I need to.
Oh,
I believe so, yeah.
You do. Not everywhere in the world, but I mean, it used to be everywhere. But I think now, I think in Peru, you still need yellow fever.
Here they
Going to the Amazon.
Especially to the jungle areas.
Yeah.
You need
Yeah.
Just if you're going to the Amazon.
Just so you know, the guidelines for yellow fever have changed, where they used to say you need it every 10 years, but now the guidelines are if you've had it, then it's good for life. So
Oh,
yeah, if you ask your physician, but I recently talked to mine about that. So check the WHO guidelines.
Okay.
You might give yourself a shot.
Thanks.
Liz is mentioning Bolivia used to require yellow fever for their visa, even just to go to Altiplano.
They
but not
and they
for-
still do. They
Okay.
still do.
I think we should all wish Kathy Oates a very successful trip. She's heading to Peru, I think the 2nd of October, going to the north. So we're thinking of you, Kathy. Have a great trip.
She just stepped away,
looks
but I'm
like
sure
she's
she'll
out
receive those
Well,
things.
We'll
there. Oh, there she is.
send her good wishes. Well, thank you all. Thanks for all this hard work, Mackenzie, David, and we'll get the details to you. We'll get our confirmations sooner rather than later, right?
Perfect. Yes, that would be ideal. We're setting the 15th kind of as that hard deadline, but if you already know, let me know. And then if you have any other questions too while you're digesting all this, don't hesitate to reach out. You guys all have my contact information. So I'm so excited. I'm really looking forward to this, and I know it'll be a wonderful trip. So thanks everybody for taking time. And yeah, so good to see you all.
Bye,
Yeah.
Mackenzie. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care, everybody.
Bye.
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 Thank you. Bye-bye.
There, I'll get that.